Over the last few years, Thin Blue Line of Leadership has been helping to train officers in making better, more consistent decisions by teaching them to utilize the policing priorities. The policing priorities were developed in order to help us organize our thoughts and prioritize our actions, specifically in moments of high stress. They help us answer the all-important question, what's important now, when dealing with any situation. The first and most important policing priority is the priority of life. Ultimately, the priority of life is a risk assessment. It's all about identifying the information necessary to assist us with our most critical decisions. Use force or don't use force? If using force, what's reasonable? Pursue or don't pursue? Do we need a crisis team or a contact team? The priority of life risk assessment is all about taking the information provided about the situation and any additional information that we can gather by speaking to victims, witnesses, or reporting parties to determine three key things. What is causing the danger in this situation? How much danger is present? Who is in danger? Realize that the danger we are referring to can either be actively occurring or have the potential to occur. Gathering this information immediately prioritizes your actions and also begins to provide the necessary justification for any urgent decisions that may need to be made. Once we have identified the risk assessment information, we can incorporate it into the hierarchy of life to assist our decision making. The hierarchy of life guides our decision making in regard to what we are and what we are not going to take risks to do. To steal a quote from the fire service, we're going to risk a lot to save a lot, and risk a little to save a little. The second policing priority is the priority of stabilization. Stabilize means to make unlikely to change or decline from the current circumstances. If we are getting called, typically it's already a bad day for those involved, so let's not make it worse. Our primary stabilization goal is to do everything we can to limit the danger and make the scene as safe as possible to operate in while we continue to solve the problem. There are numerous stabilizing actions that can be undertaken at any scene. The specific circumstances, environment, and available information will dictate what stabilizing actions and tactics are available and will be useful. Stabilizing actions can be as simple as making sure your vehicle's in park before getting out, where you choose to park, staging fire, putting on a reflective traffic vest, and properly utilizing cones and flares to safely divert traffic around a collision scene. Stabilizing actions also include utilizing distance and cover, where we stand when we knock on a door, setting a perimeter, safe placement of crisis and contact teams, making evacuations when necessary, and closing roads. There are many more stabilizing actions that can be undertaken, all dependent upon the circumstances. The third policing priority is the priority of time. Understanding time is critically important. Too many officers have been the makers of poor decisions by acting too quickly when they had time available, or vice versa, not acting quickly enough. The priority of time is about identifying the transition point between needing to make urgent decisions and having the benefit of time to make patient decisions. It's locating that moment in time when everything and everyone can begin to slow it down. So what determines when you have time? Priority 1 and Priority 2 do. Is there loss of life, potential for immediate loss of life, or significant physical injury occurring? If the answer to this question is yes, then you still have urgent decisions that need to be made. Is the situation likely to worsen or become more unsafe if something is not done urgently? If the answer to this question is yes, then you still have urgent decisions that need to be made. Once the answer to both of those questions is no, then you have found the transition point in time we are talking about, and you can begin making patient decisions. Once you find that you have time, the key is to use it wisely. Take a deep breath, slow down your thinking, and then begin to investigate, decide, and evaluate to work your way through the rest of the situation. The fourth and final policing priority is the priority of apprehension. When I say apprehension, I don't mean like a nervous apprehension. I mean apprehension as in, we've gotten a hold of the suspect, now what are we going to do with them? The first part of the priority of apprehension is knowing what our available options are for solving the problem at hand. The greater our professional competence and experience, the easier finding a solution will become. Once we know what will solve this problem, we must now go about the process of carrying that out based upon our mission and making it our desired outcome. Verifying that all involved officers are on the same page with the mission and desired outcome will be a force multiplier. Whatever the solution, carry it out with deliberate action. In other words, know what you are doing and why you are doing it. We cannot afford to take the risk of making unjustified decisions. Finally, apprehending the suspect and building a good case are absolutely priorities, but we cannot let our desire to get the bad guy overpower the higher priorities of life, stabilization, and time. When we allow the policing priorities to guide our decision-making at every call for service we respond to, they become the lens through which we handle situations that are full of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. They help us to organize our thoughts and prioritize our actions, which gives us each the greatest chance of success in every situation. If you have any questions about utilizing the policing priorities or incorporating them into your training, feel free to reach out to us via social media or email. Stay safe out there and take care of each other.